superheroes.
Today we have a guest. This is Sterling Gates, Supergirl writer extraordinaire, writer of comics and TV shows, and lover of Kara Zor-El, as we all are.
Hi.
So we're going to be chatting with him and drinking some French breakfast tea.
Or coffee, as the case may be.
Supergirl.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I remember when it first came out, I was like so excited because I think we haven't had a superhero girl on television in a very long time.
Yeah.
And then there were the awful think pieces after Jessica Jones came out that was like, now we have Jessica Jones, why do we need Supergirl?
We've talked
that
about that
made
a
me
little
very
bit.
angry.
You can have
Yeah.
both.
Yes, yes.
There's room for all of these things.
Believe it or not. And then a lot of the storylines are based on stories and things that you had conceived of.
A lot of the initial thrust of the show, Supergirl and Cat Grant, like that stuff was stuff that me and Jamal Angle put in the Supergirl book in 2008, 9, 10,
Yeah.
and part of 11. And so that relationship, which was paramount to season 1, was, something we originated.
We miss Cat Grant.
We do miss Cat
Yeah.
Grant.
Kara is very much a girl. Like, I feel like in every iteration of her as a character, she's not shying away from that. But it's never the punchline, the way often lip gloss is for Buffy. And I do love that about Buffy, but I really love that about Supergirl. How do you feel
I mean, it's
about it?
baked into the concept. Like,
Yeah.
I went on a Twitter tweeting spree the other day. In the 50s, she was a weirdly, like, secretly progressive character that no one really understood at the time because it's dressed up as comics for your kid's sister. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she saves cats out of trees. But, like, she's also as powerful as Superman and used as Superman's secret weapon. So every time he gets in a jam, which in the 50s was all the time, he calls her and she comes in and saves his bacon.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
And like, and that is such an interesting take, and it's a take that I think people don't really. I think they eventually kind of get away from it.
Yeah, because in the show it's almost opposite of that because it's her show, so we're following her all the time.
Right.
She has to get into
Occasionally,
trouble.
when you get a Superman cameo, he's coming in to save
Right.
her a little bit.
But what an interesting like way
Yeah.
to start that character. It's just really fascinating to go back and read all that stuff in the 50s and 60s because they didn't. I don't know if they were aware they were doing it, but they really they created a character who is stated on panel like she's as powerful as Superman, though she's a teenage girl. And then Supergirl as a character changed pretty drastically. Like, you had this alternate reality shape-shifting being that was Supergirl for most of the 90s.
I feel like that was my first encounter with Supergirl, and I didn't really care for that, and so then I didn't really encounter her again until she made a cameo in Brian Q. Miller's Batgirl.
Right.
Like, and then she
They
was
fight
back
the
to being
Draculas.
normal
Right.
again.
Right.
So, yeah,
That was.
funny.
I mean, the 90s was a very strange time in comic books. I respond to the science fiction of it all, and I respond to she's an alien from another world. She's an alien refugee brought to our world because she was sent here because they knew it would be safe, and she's encountered like terrible losses. I talk a lot about the strength of Supergirl and her emotional resilience. In almost every version of her origin, Supergirl loses her world. She watches Krypton explode. She's with her family on a life raft. In a lot of cases, it's Argo City. And then she watches as Argo City is destroyed or taken by Brainiac or whatever, so she loses her parents too. And she, as a teenage girl, is sent to Earth, a planet she's never heard of, a planet she doesn't know any of the languages for, to live with her cousin. And that's a lot to fucking deal with. And the strength of that character, any version of that origin would be crippling emotionally for most anybody. And Supergirl's response is to harden and then accept the world that she is in, and then, much like Superman, go to great lengths to make sure that this world is as good as possible for the people in it, because it's the only world that we have. And that speaks to her humanity, I think, a lot, and it speaks to her strength as a character.
Yeah, it's so great when you think of art as like a thing that shows us who we are, inspires us to be better. You know, it's really great to have a role model that can undergo such loss and such pain and come out the other side and make the choice to be better for it and save
help
others.
others.
Yeah,
that's-
exactly. I'm actually kind of curious though, like where this love that you clearly have for her started for you. Like when you realized.
When did you creatively fall in love with Supergirl? Over time.
There's that line in Fault in Our Stars. It's just like falling asleep, but it doesn't happen. Then it happens all at once. I mean, I loved Crisis as a kid. Like, Crisis was the biggest DC Universe spanning event of my childhood. I read Crisis over and over as a kid and really enjoyed it. And then Jeff Loeb and Mike Turner brought Supergirl back in Superman Batman. And that was when I started getting interested in Supergirl again. They brought back a classic version of Supergirl and then dropped back into... They were doing these huge phone book-like Showcase Presents collections. And the Supergirl one came out. And so I dropped back and read all that stuff from the 50s and 60s and thought, this is a great character. Like, creatively, it wasn't until... I wrote that first script, and then I had a long conversation with Jamal Igle, who was going to be drawing Supergirl with me. And one of the first conversations we had was about the character and what she means, and what she means to the world, and what she means to the DC Universe. And it was a really positive, it was a 4-hour-long conversation. It was really positive. And I hung up, and I was like, I want to work with that guy on this character for as long as possible. And we did, for 3 years, we did a lot of different things. My father passed away when I was very young. Jamal's best friend was shot in front of him when he was young, and so a lot of the emotion of Supergirl 36 is us channeling those losses and how hard that was on both of us. So we use this character to talk about universal things that affect all of us. No pun intended, universal. Things that affect all of us, and hopefully use her to help guide us emotionally. I got really heavy. Sorry.
No, that's
Just gonna drink my coffee.
Yeah. That's there.
Well, I guess we can.
We should transition
To-
to our read-elect supply with an army.
So we've explained to Sterling the rules of this game.
Right.
Since the comics are, decades and decades
Yeah.
old, we're going to limit our choices to the TV show. Does Karen need an army?
No.
I don't
She's
think
a-
so.
she's a one-woman
she is an
army.
But I'd elect her.
Oh, I would elect her.
I'd elect her in a second.
She had such a great, that episode with Linda Carter as the president was so awesome.
The alien president. Dun dun dun. Spoiler alert. I would read Cat Grant. I'd love to read Cat Grant's magazine. Like, I'd love to read
That should
all of
really
the Catco,
exist.
Yeah.
all of the Catco output.
I don't know if this is canon. If she writes like a Graydon Carter style letter at the beginning of every issue, that would be fantastic.
And she makes
Yeah.
Kara write it.
Yeah.
And then she does a pass.
And then
Yeah.
she changes like 3 words. I feel like the obvious answer is Alex.
Right?
Yeah. That would be pretty classic for us, too.
Yeah, we tend to give the badasses armies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Alex. I love Alex because I love the that she's almost like a foil for Kara because she isn't as girly and she is like definitely more left-brained, but like they are usually a foil is like an antagonist
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you, and they
Right.
are in no way that.
Yeah.
They're best
She's
friends.
not her shadow self.
I love writing the Danvers sisters in scenes together. I think I phrased it once, like, every time you put them both in a situation, like, Kara believes the best and is super optimistic, and Alex knows the worst thing that will happen. She doesn't even need to be pessimistic. She just knows the worst thing that's going to happen, and so, like, that puts them at odds every time. And you get a lot of really fun scenes and fun drama out of that.
Yeah, they're really fantastic together, and the
I
actresses'
love them
chemistry is
together.
fantastic, and they're just great. And it's really important, I feel, to have examples in television where you can say, look, there's more than one way to be a woman,
Yeah.
Right.
and nobody is putting anybody down about it.
our video, please like our video. Check us out on Twitter. We are at Angel City Sirens. Next week we're talking about women in comic book movies.
Cool.
Yeah.
She's just such a ray of sunshine in that whole movie, and it feels like she's
Even though she's super dour.
no, so it's amazing how happy a very surly child
Oh my
can
God.
make me. See you
And
then.
thank you so much for
Oh, thanks for
coming
having
and
me.
talking to us.
And if you want to talk to me on the internet, I'm on Twitter. I have a website.
We will put links in the
It's
doobly
the-
doo.
yeah, down there.
Yeah.
Down there.
You can
So,
come.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Cool.
Have a good day.